cloud right now.
Okay, thank
Oh,
you. It's
good.
7 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for sharing with us and thank you for joining the meditation. We have a wonderful evening planned for you. As you all know, my name is Paul and I'll be your host, and we welcome you. And if you're here for the first time, but I think everybody is relatively broken in, so we welcome you anyways. You came back, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Our theme for the year is 2020 Spiritual Vision, and our theme for this month is Living as Compassionate Conduits. And we've had quite a wonderful month so far. This is our last Wednesday of the month, but we had, let's see, Lucian was here and Reverend E, and then we had our ministerial panel at the beginning of the month. And with everything that's gone on in the world and is going on in the world, it seemed like the perfectly appropriate theme to have for this month. It really has gotten me through all of our trials and tribulations and our joys, to recognize that we have a place where we can come and we can be spiritual conduits. It is our last Wednesday night, and Chantal Rohlfing is here tonight as she's one of our practitioners, and she'll be presenting for us tonight. So Yahoo for that. She has asked us tonight. Normally, I say turn off your cameras and your microphones, but if you'd leave your camera on, she'd like to look at you while she delivers. So if you're so inclined, you can tonight turn on your camera, leave your microphone off. She'd like to see your beautiful faces. So I'm going to leave my camera on, and she'll feel like she's connecting better with us. Also tonight, excuse me, after service is Upper Room and Zoom that Zoe will host. So there will be prayer available after the service tonight. As I said earlier, Chantal is one of our practitioners, and just a terrific human being. I enjoy working with her on our Wednesday nights, and have enjoyed being with her when we could get together. So this is the next best thing. I'll take it. Chantal will be speaking on love, loss, and life during the pandemic. So there's a lot that she has for us tonight. So I'd like to welcome her and ask Chantal if you would open us up in a prayer, and we'll go right into your presentation. Thank you, Chantal.
Thank you, Paul. Absolutely. So let's just come together and start by taking a deep breath. And breathing out, just drawing in a spirit-filled breath tonight, and releasing anything that has come before this moment. As we just recognize together the one power, the one presence, the one love that is right here, right now, as spirit, moving in and through and absolutely as everything. I know the energy of spirit is one of love, compassion, peace, and joy. And I know that I am one with this. And I know this is true for everyone here present and everyone on this planet. And so I just give thanks for this evening. I give thanks for this coming together. I know it will be blessed. I know that whatever anybody has come here to receive will be received tonight. And I give thanks for this opportunity of sharing, of connecting. Give thanks for all the Zoom techs behind the scenes, and for Paul as our host and our practitioners here tonight. And I give thanks for this technology that allows us to come together. So thank you, Spirit, and so it is. So welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me tonight on the night before Thanksgiving. I'm happy to see all of you here, and I'm happy to talk about a topic that I think is really important that we acknowledge that we've been going through some rough times this year. And so I want to honor that and talk a little bit about how to bring compassion to our experience of the being in the pandemic and 2020 and how to deal with the issue of loss that many of us have experienced, if not all of us. So, as Paul said, the topic is living as compassionate conduits. And my topic is love, loss, and life during the pandemic, because I wanted to talk about loss, but it occurred to me that it's really, if you have love to hold it and you have life, the energy of life, then we can handle loss. We're supported. So it's kind of like a sandwich love, loss, and life. So, and I want to talk about how to hold that with compassion. So, and we'll do a little sharing tonight as well about our own experience. We're going to have a little breakout rooms about halfway through. So I just want to acknowledge the topic tonight might bring up feelings for people, which is great. All feelings are welcome here. Science of Mind doesn't always cover the topic of loss. As a matter of fact, I looked in the Science of Mind book and couldn't find any citations with loss or grief. And so sometimes that can be a weakness in our philosophy, is what do we do with feelings that are natural and human? We certainly pray, we certainly meditate, we certainly uplift ourselves spiritually, but the necessary first step is paying attention to what those feelings are, right? So, so we'll talk about that tonight, and then if you do need prayer, you can, at the end, you can, there are several practitioners here that will be happy to pray with you. And I also noticed we have the Compassionate Attention to Loss group coming right up. I think it's a week from Sunday, but I think Paul will go over that later tonight. So we'll start by talking about what are some of the losses people may have experienced during the pandemic. But before I do that, I have to tell a couple of jokes about the pandemic because humor has been a big thing that has gotten me through. So one of them is, so far 2020 is like looking both ways before crossing the street and then getting hit by an airplane. And remember the movie Jumanji? So this joke, if you don't know the reference, anyway, coronavirus pandemic, daylight savings time, Friday the 13th, and a full moon all in the same week? Who the hell is playing Jumanji? That one made me laugh. But on a serious note, I want to talk about the very real losses that we've experienced this year, collectively. So first and foremost, this, as we all know, many people have lost people we know to COVID, or know somebody that has, or know somebody that suffered from it. And we've all suffered, even if we don't have that experience, from fear, the fear of getting it. And sometimes for people who've lost someone, they've lost the ability to come together with their loved ones to grieve. So that's a really difficult one as well. We're sort of isolated in our loss and our suffering. Also, generally, that feeling of loneliness or disconnection from our loved ones, including communities like this one. It's different to be able to get together and hug each other than it is to see each other on screen. That's just the reality. And so, especially around the holidays, which is often a time people think about loved ones they've lost or they're far away from, it's a vulnerable time. And again, we don't have the physical contact, the hugs, the touch. So that's a common one that many people are experiencing. The other one I want to mention is just that not being able to do our regular and familiar activities that are ways of taking care of ourselves, it can be hard for people. We sort of feel trapped in our homes a lot of the time. And there's this feeling of things changing and not knowing what's coming next, which for many people can create a sense of fear or discomfort. Um, seeing our friends, or, for me, going to my yoga classes used to be a really nice thing I would do every week. So, and then some people, of course, have loss of jobs or income, financial insecurity right now. That's another loss. And then, of course, the political tensions leading up to the election and the divisiveness in our country and the issues of racism and racial violence. Um, and even right now, sort of a lack of this normal transition of power in our presidency. All of those things, I think, have taken a toll on us, and we've experienced many of those as losses. For myself personally, I just want to name a few just to acknowledge my own. I haven't been able to hug my daughter in 9 months, right? She won't get near me, which is good because she wants to protect me, but it's also hard. During the early part of the pandemic, my stepfather died, and we never had a memorial service. That was hard, even though his death was not so much a surprise. We couldn't come together to grieve in the way we would. My mother-in-law has had some health issues, and we actually flew up to Canada and quarantined for 2 weeks to be able to help her. And so that was, that had its challenges. And I miss seeing my family. I'm not seeing my family over the holidays because it doesn't feel safe this year. And I miss seeing all of you in person. So those are just a few things in my own life, and I'm sure you can relate to some of those, and you have your own list. So we're going to be with that tonight. And I also want to mention that we have some loss in our community. We have the loss of seeing each other in person. Reverend Jeff is ill, and he's taking time off to focus on his healing. So he hasn't been able to be, around even on Zoom as much. And I also want to mention, many of you know this, but Richard Robinson is in the final stages of his life, and is in hospice right now. And he's such a wise sort of practitioner / minister in our community. And I think many of us are feeling a sense of loss. We actually had a really lovely prayer room, sort of a Zoom prayer with him last night. And he really was able to receive all of our blessings, which was wonderful. But he personally welcomes death because he sat with many people and he's not afraid of it. But we feel the loss of him. So, and I wanted to share with you that Richard always was somebody very generous in giving gifts and cards and things. And this beautiful stained glass, I don't know if you can see it, has a cross in one corner, and it's rainbow, an LGBT rainbow that he left for me last week. I was very touched. So I'm thinking of him.
Chantal, can I tell you that I can't actually see you. I'm only seeing Paul.
Okay, good to know. Okay, am I on now? Because I can show that again.
No.
Judith, are you clicked on gallery view? Because Chantal is spotlighted and on speaker view.
Oh, that must be it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. Thank you.
I'm gonna show that again, Judith, for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
So, phew, that was a lot. That was a long list of possible things we're experiencing right now. And I want to say, even though I'm focused on talking about loss, I'm also very grateful for so many things in my life, including how I've grown during this pandemic. So one doesn't eliminate the other. We can be grateful for our lives and still be experiencing loss. But we can even have joy and peace amidst loss. So I want to read a poem that many of you know. It's by Rumi. It's called The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So I love this poem because it really captures this experience. We've hosted a lot of guests this year in 2020, right? So we are spiritual beings having a human experience. This body, these emotions are what we have to work with in life. So it's important to not use our spirituality to bypass the essential nature of our humanness, but instead to welcome all feelings, even if they are a crowd of sorrows. And for many people, loss can actually lead to sort of a spiritual experience. The dark night of the soul, as they call it, or a period of transformation or growth that follows loss. If you think back to losses in your life, they often bring good with time. And I imagine that 2020 will as well. As Dostoevsky said, I always get his name wrong, the darker the night, the brighter the stars, the deeper the grief, the closer to God. And by Francis Weller, those who undertake the full journey into their grief come back carrying medicine for the world. So I just want to talk for a couple minutes about how we cope with loss, many of us. These are just some common coping mechanisms. One is avoidance. We don't want to feel it, so we check out, we keep busy, watch a lot of TV, we eat, we drink, any other addictions, we work too much. For some people, we feel anger or irritability or judgment. Like for me, when I'm irritable, it's often a sign that I have some kind of sadness or grief going on underneath. So these are all very handy protectors from feeling loss. Because we want to protect ourselves because one loss brings up our history of loss. The reason this strategy isn't that helpful is that we end up shutting down our feelings. We can't go through it. So I just want to distinguish between depression and grief. Depression is actually not grief. It's more of an absence of feeling, a shutting down. And so one way of feeling better is actually going deeper down into the feelings in order to come up. You have to go down to come up. So it's good to remember that. The other way that many people deal with loss is getting lost in it, getting stuck in it. As Reverend Joan used to say, building a condo there, right? We just don't know how to move through it. We can get overwhelmed in sadness or beliefs of victimhood and stay stuck in it. So what's the solution to that? The solution is to feel the feelings, to be grateful to have the feelings, to welcome the feelings, and to say, how can we safely be with our feelings? And that means bringing the love. That's the other part of the topic. We bring a feeling of love to accompany the feelings, or you could say compassion. We make time for the feelings, we allow and welcome our tears. We can create a sacred space for them. And then we direct self-compassion. And that's not always easy for people. So I'm going to do a little guided meditation on that tonight. As the Buddha said, if your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. And as Pema Chodron says, compassion for others begins with kindness to ourselves. Or Kristen Neff says, when we give ourselves compassion, we are opening our hearts in a way that can transform our lives. And I can speak for this personally. The more I've developed the ability to be compassionate for myself, it is truly transformative. And the more I'm able to give that to other people. So, and of course, some other more external ways of dealing with loss would be to reach out for support, to again connect with the love that's out there, the people that love us. Can do that with a friend or a family member, or go to a therapist or a practitioner if it feels like just hard to do it on our own. And after we feel for a while, then we can use our spiritual tools to lift us up and shift. We can start to shift our thoughts in terms of affirming, well, I've lost this, now what do I want? Affirming what you want. We can know the spiritual truth of peace, of comfort, of love, and embody that, feel that, pray for that. We can pray to see the bigger picture. We can pray for divine right order. Another way we can connect when we're in loss is through some type of ritual that helps us. Like, say, for example, connecting to a lost loved one. We can light a candle. We can create an altar and put people's pictures on it. So things that are symbols can often help us to contain and have a space for our feelings. And then the third component is life, right? Embracing life, because life isn't just about loss. So being grateful for what you already have is really important. And connecting in other ways with life. And during the pandemic, it's challenging, but it's given all of us the opportunity to try something new. Can be something small. Like I used to go to yoga classes twice a week, and now I watch Yoga with Adriene on on Netflix. YouTube in the mornings, and I feel connected and I feel good in my body. We can make plans. We can decide what our vision is for our future and what we want to do. That's really important when we're going through hard times, is just holding a vision. What do I want to create more of? How do I want more love and more life? Because that's what gets us through it. So, I'd also like to mention, how do we connect compassionately with others who are going through loss? Which again, we all are right now. Well, one is just we stay connected, calling or FaceTiming or Zooming loved ones to check in, see how they're doing. And when we check in, just listening to their feelings, validating, empathizing, and just really being present with our loved ones is what's needed right now, without having to feel like you have to fix it by giving advice or even by sharing a story from your own life. Just being with the other person can be tremendously healing. The other ways to get creative about how can I connect? Can I write a card, send somebody a card, drop off a gift, or bring over a meal? And certainly we can offer prayer, but wait until after the person has had a chance to share their feelings. The Dalai Lama said, if you want to be happy, practice compassion. So this is about compassion for others, right? And Mother Teresa, one of her famous sayings is, if we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. And Helen Keller said, we bereaved are not alone. We belong to the largest company in the world, the company of those who have known suffering, which is everyone. So I'd like to do right now a little short guided meditation to help us develop that self-compassion for places of loss within ourselves. So I'm going to invite you to go within and just take a deep breath, centering into your body, and just notice what's going on inside of you right now. Just notice and welcome any feelings, any sensations in your body, or any emotions that might have been evoked by my talk. Just creating a welcoming place for whatever's coming up for you. And I'd like you to choose one area of loss in your life that you've experienced recently, just to focus on for a few moments. And again, feel it in your body. Just notice whatever it feels like to remember that experience. So I'd like you to just separate from that experience of loss a little bit so you can witness that part of you, a part of you that's experiencing loss. What is it feeling? What does it need from you? Just witness it with love. Send it love and light right now. Again, see if there's anything, that part of you that's experiencing loss, needs from you, maybe later on. So just send it some appreciation for showing up and sharing with you tonight. And if it's helpful, you can bring in some type of spirit, feeling of spirit, or image of spirit as a comforting presence, as a compassionate presence. And so now I'd like you to start to come back into the room, taking a couple of deeper breaths, bringing yourself present. And now we're going to have the opportunity to share with a partner. You'll each get about 5 minutes to share. And Zoe's going to help us out and send us into Zoom rooms together. And so at about 5 minutes, you can switch. And the goal is really to just listen with compassion. We just listened internally with compassion. The goal of this would be to share and then to bring your compassionate presence to the other person and just witness and listen. And sort of, no, you don't need to comment afterwards. You can just namaste or thank them for sharing, and then you can switch. And then we'll come back to the main room after the 10 minutes and we can share a little more all together. Okay, so whenever you're ready, Zoe, we'll go on our little journey.
Here we go. People don't want to stop talking. Where are they all?
They're having a good time.
Yeah.
Hey, must be.
Yeah.
You can't send them a rope, huh? Like a lasso,
I'm
and
gonna try to pull.
rope them in. Reel them in.
One of those hooks.
Oh, yeah, the
The
hook.
hook. There you go. Yeah, the hook. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, here we are.
I was hanging out in the breakout room going, where is everybody?
Yeah.
Well, welcome back. I think most people are back now, right?
We're supposed to be.
I think
Yeah,
so.
it's like
Yeah.
taking us out of anesthesia when you pull us back into the breakout room, man.
Yes.
Karen, thank you, honey. Thank you.
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
So welcome Susan and Luis, and a couple more people have joined us.
Right.
iPhone, whoever that is. So I just want to open it up now for a little discussion for any insights, comments, or questions you have about love, loss, and life.
Well, I think I'll speak if I may, Karen.
Yeah. thank you.
I think it was good to actually have to think about what was kind of working okay and what wasn't. It was harder. So it was kind of a way to be grateful and also to look at, oh yes, that still is difficult for me, and just kind of recognize it, accept it. So thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, well, it's good to make space for the difficult things sometimes.
It was good for me, Chantal, to have someone like Karen to have 5 minutes just to spill my guts with, and she witnessed. And then it was good for me to listen to her. Just the exercise, not as much the content as the opportunity to have that exchange. I felt was good for me. So I want to
Wonderful.
thank you for that.
Wonderful. I really think there's something kind of sacred about sharing, sharing deeply with each other, and we don't do that enough.
Say something. We talked about kind of the loss and the gratitude for the silver linings and all this, but one of the things I keep thinking about is like the importance of recognizing the little losses. Like,
Mm.
I think we all feel that loss of not being able to see people in person at church. And one of the things I realized at some point was I miss that experience of walking into the sanctuary on Sunday morning before I even get a chance to see it, to say hello to anybody, and that little murmur of voices. It just creates such a sense of peace. Or the lack of serendipity. I can plan all kinds of things, but I'm not going to be walking down the street and have a family walk by and hear the kids say something funny. The people, like I don't get to wave at the security guard in my building on the way up, or the woman who serves me my iced tea at my cafe, and when I go in has it already ready because she saw me parking. It's like all those little tiny things really kind of add up unless you spend some time recognizing them.
Yes, thank you for that. I think that's a really good point. We all know that we're not experiencing normal life, but we often kind of try to avoid thinking about the specifics, and yet we feel it. It can feel like an emptiness, or just like sometimes it's not even something we can name. So thank you for pointing that out. Who else?
Me, Judith.
Hi, Judith.
Hi. I loved the opportunity to both talk without getting a response, and listen without, and I had to put a rein on myself because I felt the temptation to say something, and it was a wonderful exercise to do that, to practice that. And I look forward to doing more of that because I think I felt what I was hearing go right in.
Yeah.
With Allison, it just goes in, and not,
Mhm.
it's not, I don't know. It is very powerful to do that. So thank you
Oh,
for
good.
that exercise. Yes.
Good. Oh, good. Yeah. Allison and I discovered in our relationship that if we take turns speaking and we cannot interrupt each other, we get much farther when we're talking about something important. So, right. And of course, I'm a therapist, so I practice that listening every day. It's continual practice for me. So, anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to chime in here.
Christopher.
Yeah, first off, I want to start out by saying I don't want to diminish anything about loss and at all. And I think it's really important to experience and to feel it in its entirety. And at the same time, as I was doing this exercise, I was really realizing what habit that I really have lost other than a thought and a memory stream. And I was looking at that, it's like, what do I really own? You know, what's really alive and present in the moment? And it kept bringing me back to this moment. Am I okay in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
Where is the loss outside of a thought in this moment? There is no loss in this moment. And I went, wow, that's actually quite freeing. How come I keep creating a problem? And so that's a whole other area of inquiry. But the idea of whatever problem I have, in a sense, I am creating through thought, that it shouldn't necessarily be this way, that I want it to be different than the way it is right now. And I'm in confusion or in disharmony about that. So I offer that up, not to bypass in any way the grief in that, but to examine the grief as to what exactly have I lost in this moment, or am I relying on my history and my past? And is there a confusion there? So I leave it with that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you for that. I mean, I think we certainly can examine our grief. What we can't do, though, is stop our grief with our thoughts. You know, 'cause our grief is physiology. Our grief is just being human. So we can then say, well, what have I lost? But it takes a very evolved, unattached spiritual being like you to cannot be attached to the past or the present. Because when I notice my thoughts, they're 90%, they're often about the past or the present. I mean, the future or the past, right? How often am I really just right here, right now? So it's a good practice, though, to keep going there and just keep saying, I'm right here, so what can I lose, right? Anyone else? Well, I think I'm going to turn it over to Paul. Thank you so much for being here tonight and participating.
Thank you.
And it's great to be with all of you. I think I'll end with a quote or two. Let's see. Okay. Grief can be the garden of compassion. If you keep your heart open through everything, your pain can become your greatest ally in your life's search for love and wisdom. That's by Rumi. And I have to have a quote from Richard Robinson tonight, as my heart is with him. We acknowledge and accept that life goes on forward into a greater expansion and experience. We advance to a bigger expression of life. Nothing is lost or left behind. So I'm gonna turn it over to Paul and remind you, if anybody wants prayer tonight, we have some wonderful practitioners here ready to pray.
Indeed. What a segue. First of all, always, Chantal, always you deliver. And thank you for taking us to a place we need to go right now, I think.
Thank you.
Nice avenue to skip down, because we've had some joy in the last couple of weeks, you know, for a lot of us with the election. I'll just be frank. So, yes, things are up. I am more optimistic than I thought I would be. And had it gone the other way, I would have been really miserable. So I'm grateful that I have my community and my family, what's left of it. God bless Stephen. Oh, he hasn't jumped ship yet after 35 years. I'm just grateful to all of you. I've been trying to anchor and enjoy my Wednesday nights with you guys. So thanks for all of you that keep repeating and coming back and bringing friends. And as we grow and go, thank you. And Chantal, I'm really grateful that you bring your expertise to all of this tonight. It's been very, very helpful for me, and I know for everybody else. So I want to really acknowledge you and that, and I hope you'll come back in a minute. I don't think you're on the docket till next year, which is only 5 weeks away. So speak to Reverend Jeff and let's get you back on the docket real soon, if you will. I would love it. Thank you. Some announcements. This Sunday, November 29th, we have a special service celebrating gratitude for youth. Youth and family are going to be involved. It is the 5th Sunday of the month. So please join us at 10 for meditation and 10:30 for the service. Next Wednesday, Lucian will be back, one of our practitioners, Lucian Baker, and he'll be speaking on our December theme of celebrating divine truth. It'll be our first Wednesday night. Celebrating divine truth is our theme for December. And he'll be kicking our month off with that next Wednesday. Meditation at 6:30 and service at 7. On Sunday, December 6th, not next Sunday, but the Sunday following, the Compassion Attention to Loss Ministry, or CALM, is having a special session at 12:30 right after service to talk about navigating the holidays. Oh no, haven't we had enough to navigate? So now we're going to do the holidays. Oh my, but yes, we have our CALM group there to help us through that period. So navigating the holidays, remembering and honoring our loved ones. Sunday, December 6th, right after service. With Thanksgiving tomorrow, that means we're on a downhill ride to the December holidays and shopping. Why does the holiday sound like doom and gloom all of a sudden? I don't understand. Spirit Treasure Bookstore, even while closed, is offering you the opportunity to get some wonderful gifts for yourself or others. Go to the events page of the website or check the Village News to pre-order the Centers for Spiritual Living Journal for $13.95 and or the CSL Planner for $14.95. You must order them by December 1st, which is not very far away. So check that out on the website. And as I said earlier, we'll be using Upper Room and Zoom tonight. Zoe will be hosting that in breakout rooms for us. Thank you, Zoe. If you want to receive our newsletter and you're not doing it already, go to our homepage, lower left-hand side of the page, enter your email address and submit it. It'll give you what's coming up for the next week and all the links on how to access while we're in this shelter and grace period. Also, check out our website for our Village Facebook group, as well as our YouTube channel. There's hot links on the front page to that. And remember that oaklandcsl.org is our information center as we shelter in place and in grace. You can get the Zoom information for Wednesday and Sunday services, free drop-in events, save the date events, and register for any classes or workshops that will be coming up. I want to thank our Zoom team tonight. Zoe is our host behind the scenes, managing the man behind the curtain. So thank you, Zoe. And we had Alice Herndon and Peter Gum and Alice Knudsen and Sam. Sam, I gotta get you to tell me how to say your last name correctly. Can you come on and tell me?
Ladion.
Ladion. Trust me, as a Prizzuti that gets it ruined every time it's said by a novice, I am sensitive. Ladion. Okay, so thank you, Sam. Enzo Demuro the Magnificent, and of course, Constance Chapman and Peggy Cotton, always in the wings, always taking care of us. Thank you, Zoom team. You're the best, best, best. And with that in mind, I want to move to our offering and let you know that as I pass the digital plate around this group of people, we're grateful for your contributions. And if you're so inclined, hold those close to your heart right now. As we say, joyously I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. Knowing that as I give, I do receive. Oh, with that in mind, I'm grateful for your contributions, whether they're time, treasure, or talent, whether it's on the Zoom team or helping around the center or going to the next slide, which is going to show you the home page where you can donate. Click that button, type in your information, and it will come to us in that form as well. Also, take checks in the mails, and you know the address. It's important as we move into our new year to recognize the importance of money in our lives. And if you have some that you can share with the center, we're always grateful for it, and I'm thanking you in advance. We just went through Pledge Month, and you all did a great job on that. So we've got a lot of commitment for the next year going forward, and I just want to honor that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Upper Room and Zoom in a few minutes. And so what's left for our presentation tonight, Chantal, would be you closing us out in prayer. I can't thank you enough, guys. Thanks for being here so much.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
And thank you
Thank you,
to
Paul.
the fabulous Zoom team. It feels so supportive to have you all here. So, and I was just thinking as you were talking somehow that the things that we're missing now, like being at the center, as we feel the loss, we're also noticing what's important to us and what we're grateful for. So holding the center in my heart right now and looking forward to getting back there in the next year. So let's just take a breath. Just giving thanks to ourselves for showing up tonight. Showing up to connect, showing up to develop a deeper compassion for each other and ourselves. Just knowing that the heart of God is the heart of compassion. And I just give great thanks and just so much appreciation for all everyone is dealing with right now. Just we're all stepping up. We're all stepping up to the next level, to the next place in our journey. And I'm just claiming that there is that growth and expansion happening for each one of us. And so as we come together in this prayer, I just bless all of you for Thanksgiving and throughout 2020 and into 2021. So grateful. And so I just say, and so it is.
And so it is.
Wishing everybody a happy, happy Thanksgiving. And we're going to have a joyful and bright holiday season, no matter what my announcement people tell me to say. Turn on your cameras. We're going to say goodnight. And if you want prayer, definitely put your hand up tonight. So we'll be taking over that process. So thanks a million for all that you do. I appreciate you so much.
All right. Thank
So
you, Paul.
thank you, Peggy, and everybody. It's so good to see you. I'm going to leave you to prayer room.
So I should turn off recording then right now.
Yep.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving.
Bye, everybody.
I love you all.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Happy